Sonic is pretty good. I like him a lot. I've made a whole video about some of my favorite locales from his games and even his OVA. I've been planning out another one of these for a bit now, but I'm a ways away from feeling like I have much more to say at the moment. I've been playing some Sonic Heroes on stream with my good friends Pac, Jeff, and Row Reviews, and...
You know, don't drink and drive. But you can smoke and drive.
Yeah, no.
That's fine.
Can you suck 3 titties at once and drive?
You're... The greed will come for you. One day, you'll learn. You'll really learn one day.
No, I won't.
It's been interesting, but I think Heroes rocks. While planning that out, I thought about the lost locations of Sonic the Hedgehog. The places that we, the audience, have never explored. And there's a surprising amount of lost Sonic media, even to a freak like me. So come along with me, and let's talk about my favorite lost Sonic locations.
Better get going!
I want to eat chicken burger.
Welcome to X-treme Talks for the Superstars. Tonight, next guest, the incredible. I don't care.
The obvious place to start would be with Sonic 1, and yeah, its only prototype released on New Year's of 2021 by the GOAT DRX. And before we go any further, I would like to shout out DRX, Sonic Retro, Sega Retro, and Hidden Palace for their contributions in making these versions playable and public, and also Buckaroo for Sonic 1 specifically. I'll provide links to anyone who's contributed to all these discoveries in the description. This video would not exist without them. I hope they're all chilling in hot chick heaven. But about Sonic, what a whiplash this honestly is. If you're any familiar with Sonic 1, this just feels ever so slightly off. Like, what's this ball doing here in Green Hill? I guess we'll never know. But the main location I really liked from this one was Sparkling Zone, or what we know today as Spring Yard Zone. This level is filled with all these glowing neon boards, and very much reminds me of Casino Night Zone, which I talked about in my last video. Though, my personal favorite aspect of Sparkling Zone is the gorgeous night sky. Spring Yard does have some of the lights, but it doesn't have the abundance of them that Sparkling does. I think the aesthetics just feel more right to me, though Spring Yard's and Purple Mountains have a vibe all their own. They more than likely just didn't want to have the same backdrop as Starlight, but I don't think that would have been a big issue with me personally. I love that level. It's probably one of my favorite classic Sonic levels just for its vibes alone, but that's for another day. Another striking difference I found from this beta was Marble Zone with its UFOs in the sky. I'm pretty disappointed that they changed that too. Those UFOs rocked, fuck you Sega! Next up is the pretty decently known Nick Arcade Sonic 2 prototype. As is implied by the name, it's best known for its appearances in Nickelodeon's Nick Arcade, a program created in 1992 best known for this elusive Sonic 2 prototype and, having Joey Fatone of American boy band NSYNC. Very cool. I was expecting more to be documented on this show's history, but nah. I've always been a little interested in early pre-YouTube television programming centered on games. I'd go to assume the show is decently preserved, since it was at least at one point on Paramount+. Honestly, all I hope is that at least one of these kids ended up being a lifelong fan of something like Monster in My Pocket on NES, or like Snow Bros or something. Whoever picked the games the kids played on that show is fucking rad. I hope you're in hot chick heaven too. Sonic 2's prototype though. It's got Green Hill. No, I'm not just making a clever funny joke about Emerald Hill. This is just Green Hill, sorta. Nice. But what is undoubtedly the coolest part of this beta is Hidden Palace Zone, which has been preserved in modern ports, but fuck that, I want my fucking stank. It feels more elusive too in a sense. Like, I shouldn't be here necessarily, but guess what? I am. And like, why was this locked away from us for literal ass years? It's really fucking pretty. I super dig the purplish crystals and waterfalls in the background. The foreground is also super cool. consisting of super nice browns and greens. There's a sort of abstractness with the level geometry and design that I really enjoy. This bridge over here that glows when you walk on it is also the coolest shit. Look at this stream of water. Very cool. I should say that this is more of an exception rather than an expectation for the rest of this video. A lot of these leaked prototypes, even as the first publicly available versions of these games, seem like they were at least closer to complete than not. Like, the Nook Arcade beta of Sonic 2 was created somewhere in 1992, the same year the game released. And most of these are more betas than prototypes, where most everything is already pretty set, save for bugs and maybe some design changes for levels, obstacles, and the such, but sometimes not even really that. Which is why I'm disappointed to say that Sonic 3 just isn't that interesting when it comes to unique locations. There are some zones from right before Sonic & Knuckles was a thing, but from my research, none of it was particularly interesting locale-wise. I do like this blue a lot. Very cool. Sonic Edusoft could have actually been a pretty historical game in the Sonic franchise if it were released. It would have been the first educational Sonic game, and the first Sonic game developed outside of Japan, which eventually went to Sonic 2, famously developed by Sega Technical Institute. Educational Sonic games have a surprisingly long history for those not as in the know about Sonic. Edusoft was developed by UK company Terrax. They were mainly a port studio, but they got the chance to make Sonic Edusoft, which is honestly not too special either, but the hub area is pretty cute. It's this little isometric recreation of Green Hill, and it's just so cute. I love the flowers on the ground. Look at them. And the waterfalls and other bodies of water. Green Hill is just a super chill place. I don't think people discuss that enough. And look, there's even these helicopters just hanging out here. How cool. Though this does beg the question, who built all of these if Tails didn't exist yet? Who knows? There's this screen whenever you need to collect more stars to progress with this funny ass looking Sonic and more really pretty flowers that rocks. This picnic level is also mega pretty and has lots of flowers. I like flowers, maybe even love them. I mean, who would have guessed? What a neat piece of Sonic though. Show a picture of Sonic's juicy feet. Another weird piece of Sonic history would be the Sega Multimedia Studio for the Mega CD. It's a pretty bare bones tech demo disc, but there's Sonic and Eggman right there. He's got so much swag just chilling in literal ass space on a CD in this cool purplish structure with these arches. I wish I had even 1% of Sonic's swag here, though you only get to see that for a second until for some fucking reason I'm watching Cool World now. This is one of those movies that Nostalgia Critic reviewed. It's that kind of Roger Rabbit looking kind of thing. I think Ralph Bakshi was involved. I forget if he was director or something. That's pretty cool. I mean, I heard it was really bad, but fucking awesome. And there's that Bat guy. Pretty neat. And there's this Bugs Bunny cartoon also, which is cool. And nothing else. Just kind of on this screen now. Awesome. But one of the most intriguing unreleased Sonic games to me would be Sonic Crackers. This would eventually turn into Knuckles Chaotix, which is easily one of the best aesthetics for any video game ever. All video games would be better if they took after Chaotix actually. Sonic Crackers, best name ever by the way, is very much a stepping stone towards its final product, even down to its graphical style. The colors are not as vibrant, and don't have so much of the neon Chaotix proudly displays, but I love how this prototype looks. I assume this might have been made for the base Genesis originally, but I'm unsure. I'm really into this hub world-like area here. These transparency effects on the water are fascinating. They remind me of Saturn transparency effects, where they're more of a mesh rather than a true transparency. I love those odd technical differences in hardware. They just made consoles actually feel unique to one another rather than the sort of homogenized approach to console development today. The color scheme on these tiles also rocks. I'm a sucker for bright pink. And look at this cute rainbow in the background. But the second main stage is my highlight. It's about the closest this prototype gets to looking like the game we actually got. I mean, broken as shit, but still. The environment is kind of abstract. I can't put my finger on what this exactly is, but I love it. Big fan of the pattern on the ground here. It's kind of like a super long candy cane, I don't know. There wasn't much time to enjoy this part because I was only allowed a singular minute before being kicked onto one of the hub areas again. Plus, being a prototype means this is mega fucked like half the time. Even if it was a fun chaos. But curse this stupid prototype. Curse my stupid Baka life. I wanted to hang out here more. One more thing I want to talk about though is that this first level here actually changes color palettes every time you play through it. It's weird how many ideas from this prototype got put into the final game when you think about it. This third palette I got genuinely rules though. I love the colors used here. These shades of purple and blue are killing me. And that teal also super rocks. I love teal. But you know what else I love? The Saturn. Easily a favorite console of mine, with some undoubtedly cool-ass games from pretty much any somewhat prolific developer at the time. But fuck cool shit. The masses wanted Sonic. They had to have Sonic. His legacy on Saturn is a pretty well-told story that you could find anywhere, so fuck you if you think I'm gonna do some boring shit about Sonic X-treme was a platform game developed by Sega Technical Institute from 1994 until its cancellation in 1996. It was planned as the first fully 3D Sonic the Hedgehog game, taking Sonic into the 3D era of video games, and the first original Sonic game for the Sega Saturn. But we're not talking about X-treme right now. I have bigger fish to fry. Sonic Mars was the prototype of what was supposed to be Sonic's big introduction into the third dimension. And I mean, who could say no to this little cutie? Well, I mean, someone did, and I hope they die a horrible death for it. This video footage of Sonic Mars genuinely had me smiling though. Not just because I adore Sonic's design in this, but fuck these levels. I just enjoy weird abstract backgrounds. Look at these trees. So triangular. The ground, so flat. There's a very distinct 90s game energy like the type you'd see on a TV in the background of some random show. I dig it. Early 90s polygonal graphics are so my jam. There's a ton of appeal for me in that sort of roughness those early 3D games like Virtua Racing or Virtua Fighter or even Bubsy 3D have. Flat shaded polygons allow for this rad as fuck stylized look and feel to games that really let them look like evolved versions of their 2D counterparts. I'm so in love with the 5th generation of games in general, but not a lot of games from that era are like the examples I mentioned earlier. And hell, 2 of those were from Sega. So, to see my little friend Chronic the Hemphog do it makes me very giddy. I wish they would have released this, but thankfully that's not all that's been documented on Mars. Artwork of potential levels has now been found and preserved online with the work credited to Michael Kosaka and Don Goddard, co-lead designer and art director respectively. I will not lie, this might have been one of the most ambitious Sonic games, which I'm sure is why the game had such a troubled development cycle until the plug was pulled. So I'm gonna go through a couple of my favorite and most desired stages from this, such as Trouble Clef Trap, which seems like you would have had to jump across a bunch of music notes. One drawing doesn't really give a clear idea on what the whole thing would have looked like, but it's concept art, so that's to be expected. But nothing compares to Fat Tuesday. There's nothing except for this title card, but Fat Tuesday sounds awesome. According to Sonic Retro, it would have taken place in New Orleans, specifically during Mardi Gras. If that doesn't sound cool, then I don't know what would have. Fucking loser. Sonic X-treme is also pretty cool and smoke. I played this kinda old-ish PC dump of the first level, and as I'm writing this portion of the script, it turns out there's a demo that consists of like 150 other test levels. I am admittedly too lazy for this extremeness. I tried loading up this other demo on my Saturn emulator and got met with this honestly beautiful ass locale, but I could not find the other levels. Jade Gully was the only thing I could actually play from this. It's much like the other Green Hill likes of Sonic. I like the blue water, the blue sky, the blue hedgehog. I love this crusty ass background too. I love the flickies. It's just all so serene in a way that you don't really get to see from Sonic all too much, beta or otherwise. This other Jade Gully demo I was able to play had some nice rocks and some neat flowers. I liked repeatedly falling out of the level and having to navigate back to ground. This happens a lot and is honestly hella funny every time it happens. You can just make Sonic fly in this demo. And speaking of Sonic, look at him. He's such a jolly boy. But also, damn, don't stare into his eyes. The Kubrick stare is one of Stanley Kubrick's most recognizable directorial techniques, a method of shot composition where a character stares at the camera with the forward. Sonic Adventure is the bestest video game because I said so. I talked about this more extensively in the last of these videos, but Adventure's world and level design kind of really rocks. I also want to know more detail about Station Square, one of the many hub worlds of Adventure. I never actually discussed the level design of Adventure, which I do really love. but I wish that some of the levels were allowed to just be a tad more open. I loved how Sonic controlled in those, and I think he would have really benefited from some more open design. Though clearly at least a few of Adventure's developers wanted this too, as this beta version of Windy Valley shows. Immediately you notice how open this level is. There's just so much free space to hang out and run around in. Playing both this beta and the final level made me become aware of how much brighter the former is. Honestly, I prefer how the original looks. It has that iconic Sega blue that I love so dearly, and I just love the color choices all around. The rocks have this nice bright brown that honestly looks kind of shiny in a way. Also, look at this background. Crunchy. I also think that this tornado section is much cooler and more fleshed out. This cage made me weirdly happy too, along with these huge ramps. Overall, this demo just made me feel a lot of whimsy. And naturally, I'd have to end off on Adventure 2. Also the best game ever, but I wasn't able to find much in the way of anything super unique. I'm sure there's some small, minute details that changed from this in the final game, but I'm honestly too dumb to have noticed much. But what I did notice were these raw as fuck posters. Some of my favorites include Nino's Pizza and this Sick Nights poster. Otherwise, there's nothing to note. That goes for a lot of these other games. I bet within the next decade or so we'll see an 06 beta or even a really early Heroes one from some Mega League or something, but until then I don't really have anything else. And not ending this on an anticlimactic note, let's count down the top 5 best lost Sonic locations. So grab a cup of orange juice and grab a snack. Number 5. The Sonic 3 beta title screen blue. Great blue. Number 4. Sparkling Zone. Man, that sky is just the best. Give me a good skybox and my life is yours is the lesson you learned from me in these. I prefer the aesthetic of this to what we actually got for sure. Numero 3. The second level of Sonic Crackers. I adore the neons in this. Some of the sickest pinks, yellows, and blues this side of Fat Tuesday. Honestly, just a visual treat the whole way through. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Any Sonic Mars level is a good location. I'm also still mad Sonic Mars in this form never materialized. This game could have been the scungy Sonic game the world needs, but honestly, we don't deserve it. Honorable mentions go out to Marble Zone from Beta Sonic 1. I adore the weird UFOs in the background. I still genuinely wish this were in the final game, though I'm sure there's a reason it isn't. Just kind of an out of place detail and would have ruined a part of the game's storytelling. But I'm still mad at Sonic Team. I hope you all got fired. Number 1. Fat Tuesday. And there you have it, folks. That was the top 5 lost Sonic locations. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy Valentine's Day, and I'll see you later. Cue penis music, haha, very funny, rollful.